Great. Well, hi, my name is Kyle Rausch. I serve as the Executive Director of the Study Abroad Office here at UIC, and I'm really excited to share with you today a brand new program that I'll hope to be leading this coming summer called Taste of Fulbright, Global Leadership and Intercultural Development in Taiwan. So what I've prepared is just a brief slide deck that will give a nice overview, I think, of what we've got planned for this program. So you see here, these are the topics that will be covered. So first, a little bit about me. So I was a first generation college student. So I was the first in my family to go to college. I grew up in Florida, so I'm from out of state. And my undergraduate degrees were in French and international affairs. And my first time studying abroad was actually in high school, where as a junior, I traveled with my high school's French club to France for 3 weeks and stayed with a host family on an island off the west coast of France called Marmoutier. And that opportunity absolutely changed my life in probably obvious ways. But after that experience, I decided I wanted to be a French major in college. So that's what I did. And I studied abroad 2 more times in Paris during college, and then did an internship abroad at the British Parliament in London. Since then, I've got graduate degrees from Florida State in higher ed administration, and then my doctorate is in leadership and innovation from ASU. And my research interests are listed here. I'm really interested in how to increase access to study abroad, particularly for underrepresented students, as well as intercultural competency development and leadership and innovation. But probably most importantly for today's session, I had the honor of receiving a Fulbright grant last spring, and I traveled to Taiwan for 2 weeks and participated in their International Education Administrator Seminar. It was an incredibly intensive but awesome experience. Taiwan was a place I had not known much about before, so the opportunity to travel there, meet with Fulbright staff, meet with dozens of university partners, and really learn about the culture and country was phenomenal. And I quickly fell in love with Taiwan. But the reason why I decided to launch this program at UIC is because the staff at Fulbright Taiwan let me know that they're really interested in seeing more applications to Fulbright grants from students from minority serving institutions, which UIC is. So I thought creating this program could be a nice way to expose students to the opportunities available at Fulbright and in Taiwan. Before I continue though, especially since it's just you today, Heaven, I'd love if you can just to share a little bit about yourself, maybe what year you are at UIC, what you're studying, and what about this program piqued your interest.
Hi, I'm Heaven. I'm currently a freshman and undeclared, but I'm looking into doing inter-college transfer because I'm in LAS right now. So
Okay.
if I do inter-college and transfer, I can do. I'm trying to do creative directing in the near future.
Awesome.
So that means like directing any type of creative like scenes or anything. And I know Taiwan has a lot of culture and like a lot of their music and their clothes and I don't know, their culture just like in general, it's really interesting to me. And I've never thought that you guys would do like Taiwan because it's very like under like represented
Yes,
country, I
yes.
guess. We usually go to like Japan or something. So
Yeah,
I just thought like, yeah, it's just interesting.
yeah, you're absolutely right. Taiwan's not the first destination that students often think of when studying abroad. So
So I was like, wait, I'm interested in this.
wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit about yourself. You're absolutely right. I was really impressed with how rich Taiwan's culture was, especially as we think about how it's differentiated from mainland China. And particularly at this time in our collective history, it holds a very important geopolitical position. So it's a really interesting time to travel there.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
next, just want to make sure you know what Fulbright is. So have you heard of Fulbright before?
No, I haven't heard of Fulbright before.
Okay, great. Well, that's exactly why we're creating this program. So the Fulbright program is one of several cultural exchange programs that was developed by the US government, and it's the goal of improving relations with other countries. So it's all about the idea of cultural diplomacy and helping US citizens build their intercultural competence. And they do this by awarding grants to US students, as well as US faculty members and other creatives, as well as folks abroad to come travel to the US to pursue projects. And the hope is that through these grants, there's an exchange of people, knowledge, and skills. There are many types of Fulbright grants. So the one I did was called an International Education Administrators Seminar. So it's for people like me who work in international education, but they also have awards for undergraduate students for when they graduate to go abroad and do graduate study, to conduct research, to teach English, or since you mentioned the creative discipline, to carry out projects that are more creatively based. So that could certainly be an option for you perhaps. So that's a little bit about Fulbright. So I wanted to give just a taste of what my experience was like, because it definitely is informing my approach to this program. So we'll watch about a minute or so of this video that they took of my group there. And just one moment, I think I need to enable audio. So we'll get that going. All right, so let's just watch a minute of this clip. If my computer will cooperate. We'll do this.
Excuse me.
Yep.
I can't see the video, but I can hear it though.
Oh, uh-oh. All right, let's try that again. I have too many screens, I think. All right, are you seeing a video now?
Yep, I see it now.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll just start that over.
I am Dr. Charity Alinda. I am the Acting Director of International Students and Scholar Services at Millersville University of Pennsylvania. I have had a wonderful time so far. I have met different folks from different areas of Taiwan, higher education professionals, officials from Fishet. It's been a wonderful time to meet and also get introduced to other professionals in the field of international education.
Hi, my name is Ann Prescott. I'm from the Five College Center for East Asian Studies in Western Massachusetts. So I'm really pleased to have made some connections that I think can be helpful for teachers in the United States so that they can increase knowledge about Taiwan among their students and among the general public.
All right, so that's just a little snapshot. And basically in my Fulbright, the whole purpose of it was to take educators like me and introduce them to potential university partners in Taiwan with this idea of coming back to our schools to encourage students like you to consider Taiwan as a destination. So it was an incredible program, and thanks to it, we now have contacts directly at Fulbright Taiwan who are helping us arrange this program. So just wanted to spend next a few minutes talking about why study abroad could be a benefit to you. So I like to break this down into 3 areas. So in terms of professional benefits, this program will help you explore postgraduate international fellowship opportunities. So we'll be focusing pretty heavily on Fulbright, but there are also a number of other international fellowships which we'll talk about in the course as well. And the course will really try and prepare you to be a competitive applicant. That way, if you'd like to apply for a Fulbright or other award after graduation, you hopefully will feel prepared to do so. During our time in Taiwan, we'll also be doing a number of visits at universities and in companies. So you have the opportunity to build your professional network on an international level. And then certainly in all study abroad programs, there's this idea of developing transferable skills such as intercultural competence, communication, leadership, and so forth. In terms of academic benefits, so it is called study abroad. So you will be taking a class and earning 3 UIC credits during the summer, but you'll get to get out of Chicago for a bit and do so in Taiwan. And another big part of our class will be looking at intercultural competency development, as well as leadership in an intercultural setting. And so I think regardless of your industry that you're going into, these are, again, skills that will probably be valuable for whatever your profession. And then I see we have a new student who's joined us. Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for being here. If you're able to unmute, I'd love to have you introduce yourself, just what you're studying, what year you are at UIC, and then why you're interested in the program.
Hi, yeah, I am a junior at UIC. I go by Liz. I am studying communication. That's my major and minoring in Spanish.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. We just got started, so you haven't missed much. And there will be plenty of time for Q&A, so I'll keep going for now. All right. And the last bucket of benefits I like to talk about are personal benefits. So a lot of times students who study abroad come back and they tell me, you know, I gained so much self-confidence. I traveled by myself so far away from friends and family, and I realized all the things I could do. Leadership skills that we mentioned, and particularly for this program, we will be having daily Mandarin classes. So I myself hope to participate in those. I am not a Mandarin speaker. And so this could be beneficial considering what you might like to do after you graduate from UIC as well. So those are a few of the benefits I think you might gain. So let's talk about the course that's attached to this program. So students who enroll in the program will get 3 credits for LAS 299. And you see here, I have the learning objectives. So there's really kind of 4 areas I'm hoping to look at. So the first, as I've mentioned, is wanting to expose students to international fellowship opportunities such as Fulbright and help you understand how to be a successful candidate for these competitive grants. Next, we're going to be looking at potential international career opportunities and again, how to be a competitive applicant for those. So we'll have the opportunity to go observe English teaching assistants. We'll have the opportunity to visit with some industries such as the semiconductor industry, producing microchips, because Taiwan's really known for that. And we'll also be looking at potential paths for graduate study and research at Taiwan's. They have a lot of really excellent universities, many of which offer coursework at the graduate level in English. So perhaps you want to take your graduate studies abroad, and Fulbright can help you pay for that. Next, because we're using Taiwan as a sort of case study, we also will be looking at some basic history, culture, geopolitical, and educational dimensions of the culture. And as I mentioned, also having an introduction to the language. And then lastly, I am licensed in what's called the Intercultural Development Inventory. So as part of this program, students will take the IDI assessment, which shows you where you are on what's called the Intercultural Development Continuum. And then we'll work on a growth plan to help you continue working on cultivating those important intercultural skills. So that's what the class is focused on. And Taiwan is a small islet. So we're actually we're gonna stay pretty busy over our 2 weeks. We're gonna start in the north in Taipei and work our way south. So you're gonna get to see, I think it's 4 cities during our stay there. So I just wanted to share a little information about where we're going. So we will start and end our program in Taipei, which of course is the capital of Taiwan. And as you can see from these pictures, it is a huge metropolis. I had not known this prior to going to Taipei, but there was actually a period of time where the Japanese colonized Taiwan. And so there's still some remnants throughout the city of that colonial era, which is really interesting to see. It has everything you can imagine a modern metropolis would have. So crowded streets with a lot of shopping opportunities, amazing food. I can't emphasize that enough. Night markets, which you might have heard of. So This is where they'll have, like in that bottom picture, just streets and blocks of all these food vendors selling all delicious Taiwanese food, and a lot more to see and do in Taipei by way of culture, such as museums and other things. So that's going to be a really fun place for us to spend several days towards the beginning of our stay in Taiwan. Then we'll head to Taichung, which is another big city, more on the western side in the center of the island. And this is definitely Taiwan's industrial city. But there is a beautiful part of the island called Sun Moon Lake, and you see me there on the bottom picture that we'll also get to visit while we're at this part of the country. And it's popular for a lot of tourism activities like boating and hiking. In Taichung, just as in Taipei, there are a number of museums and temples, so there will be no shortage of interesting cultural things to see while we're there as well. Okay, and then we head further south to Tainan City. It is known as the oldest city on the island, and in fact, it is where the Dutch actually came and had a period of rule in the late 1800s. So there are some really interesting mix of Western culture meeting Eastern culture. And in fact, we will visit the former British consulate, which you see a picture of in the bottom there. So we got to tour this. So it's again, an interesting place to go, more for the history of Taiwan as we consider the colonial aspects of its history. And then we will wrap up our journey throughout Taiwan in Kaohsiung. And it's a massive port city at pretty much the southernmost tip of Taiwan. So another big city, as you see, with lots of skyscrapers, but it's also known for having a lot of parks. And then, of course, the Love River is a mainstay there. And kind of like our river walk here, there's a lot of cafes that dot the lines of the river. So another really interesting way for us to compare each of the cities that we're visiting throughout Taiwan. It is going to be a packed program. We are going to be exhausted by the time we are done with our 2 weeks. Pretty much every day we're doing several activities. So every morning during the week, we'll start with introductory Mandarin language classes. You do not have to have ever studied Chinese language. You can be a brand new beginner. And this is really helpful just so that way we can, you know, be a good traveler and say the basics. Hello, thank you, please. But it might also inspire you to consider studying Mandarin after the program. Again, especially if you're considering going back for any of these competitive fellowships. Thanks to my own Fulbright, we do have a strong partnership with the Fulbright Taiwan staff. So I expect that we'll be able to visit their offices. You'll get to meet with their advisors and learn all about the Fulbright grants that you might be interested in applying for. And certainly we'll get some tips and tricks for how to make your application to those competitive. A big part of our itinerary is we'll be visiting numerous Taiwanese universities. And what we'll do at these universities are a mixture of campus tours. At some, I hope we'll have some guest lectures to teach us more about Taiwanese history, culture, and the current political situation. But I also hope that there will be opportunities to engage with fellow students, to observe some of the graduate students who are currently there on a Fulbright and learn from their experiences. So it's going to be a really informative way to learn about all the opportunities you have available to you through things like Fulbright. And then we'll be doing a lot of the fun and cultural stuff, night market visits. You can try all the delicious and different food. We'll visit the National Palace Museum in Taipei, which is home to thousands of artifacts that document the history of Taiwan. You might have noticed the tall skyscraper, Taipei 101, which at one point in time was the largest building in the world. So we'll go to their observation deck and enjoy the views from there. And then we'll also be going to some other places on day trips, such as Beitou and Tamsui, which are famous for hot springs. They also have a really rich indigenous culture in Taiwan. So we'll get some interaction with some indigenous peoples, doing things like visiting the Drum Creative Park, as well as learning how to fish from local indigenous people. We're going to visit that British consulate I mentioned. So that's just some of the highlights of the many things that are planned for the program. So what can you expect? Well, your days will be full of meeting people and exchanging ideas and culture. So just as I started the presentation, that is the precise aim of Fulbright. They want to get you out, meeting as many people as possible, letting the people we meet in Taiwan know what are the issues we're dealing with here in the US and how are we approaching solving those, and vice versa, learning from our colleagues and peers in Taiwan, what are the issues they're grappling with. And certainly if you know anything about Taiwan in the news these days, considering their relationship with mainland China, as well as their partnership with the US and how that looks from a geopolitical sense. So these are just some of the pictures from my own Fulbright experience last spring. Made a lot of great friends, as I'm sure you will if you go on the program. You see UIC actually has an exchange partnership with the National Taiwan University. So that's a picture from their campus. We'll be visiting. It's really beautiful and they have a lot of exciting programs. This is a bad picture of me, but I put it in here because we went to karaoke. So of course, karaoke is a big part of Taiwanese culture, and I'm sure we'll have time to enjoy some of that. This is a picture of a typical lunch. So you might be familiar with this Lazy Susan, or those big things you turn that pass dishes around, and they just put a ton of food on them, and we all share family style. So again, a lot of rich opportunities to dive deep into Taiwanese culture. In terms of housing, so since we're going to be on the move, we are using hotels. So you can expect to share a hotel room. You'll have your own bed with one other student on the program. The hotels will be centrally located, really modern, have Wi-Fi and daily breakfast included. Okay, cost. So the program fee is $27.55, and I'm not sure if you've been on our website, but this is probably the most economical program option out there for everything that you're getting. And I have to say, this is in thanks in large part due to our partnership with Fulbright. Fulbright is not a for-profit entity. They want to encourage as many students as possible to come learn about Taiwan and to consider applying for Fulbright. So they've done a really fantastic job at helping keep costs as low as possible. So what's included in the fee is your tuition for the 3 credits will be covered by this fee, the housing that I mentioned in the hotels throughout the 2 weeks, the daily breakfast, and then probably the best part, I don't think we have another program like this. All of your lunches and dinners will be covered because you're going to get a stipend. So you'll still be able to choose what you want to eat, but it's kind of like you're paying ahead of time for your food. So you won't have to worry about budgeting for extra money for food. When we arrive in Taiwan, we'll have an airport pickup to take us to our hotel. And then similarly, when the program ends, we'll be dropped off to the airport. And then the transportation as we go throughout the entire island will be covered, as well as all the fees for any of the entrances to museums and whatnot. And then you also are covered under international health insurance. So hopefully that's sounding like quite a bit is included in that fee. The only things it doesn't cover are your airfare. In terms of airfare, my plan is to arrange a suggested itinerary. That way, if you want to travel with me and other students, you can. But I also know it's summer and some students might want to stay on their own and maybe hop over to South Korea or Japan. So you also have the flexibility to do some personal travel after the program if you like. A visa, which at present US citizens do not require a visa, so that shouldn't be a cost if you're a US citizen. And then personal spending money, you are going to want to buy souvenirs and do all the cool shopping, so you want to make sure you do a little budgeting so that way you have some money for that. And I just did some quick math. I was curious, so how much does this cost compared to taking a class during summer here at UIC? And as you see, that would cost you about $17.28. So for just about $1,000 more, you get to have an international experience with all these potential connections for your career in academics. And I see a question. Liz, go for it.
Sorry, I know you said there would be time for Q&A, but my question is this during the time of the 2-week summer courses?
So yeah, the dates, I have to look on the website, but I think it's like May 11th through 26th. So pretty much right after spring semester wraps, we'll get on a plane, head to Taiwan and be there for 2 weeks. And then if you need to come back to take other summer classes or do an internship, you should still have plenty of time. Does that help?
It does. And this is for this summer or next?
This coming summer. I hope that we'll be successful this summer. It will be a regular offering, so we'll see. And then, hey, Marcin, glad you're able to make it. Do you want to give a short introduction, what you're studying and why you're interested in the program?
Hey, my name is Marcin. and I'm a finance major here at UIC. And why am I interested in the program? I'm interested in the program because I'm in the Marine Corps, and Marine Corps has a big focus on Taiwan and Southeast Asia Sea. So I'm kind of interested in the culture and the area itself
Awesome.
for strategic purposes.
Yeah, we were just talking about how critical Taiwan is in the geopolitical sense these days.
Yeah.
Spot
Yeah.
on. Perfect. Well, thanks for being here. I can catch you up. We're nearing the end of the presentation, but glad.
Yeah, I was in class, so I'll probably just attend the
Oh.
next one and on the
Yeah.
5th.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so that is the cost. Now, more importantly, what are the resources to help you pay for it, right? So if you go to the program website, which we'll look at in a minute, under the finance tab, there is a cost sheet which reiterates everything I just covered in terms of the cost. And that cost sheet is a tool for you to potentially receive financial aid to help you cover the cost. So what you can do is you can save that cost sheet as a PDF, email it to the financial aid office, and they will plug it in for your cost of attendance for summer and let you know if you have any aid available. Beyond financial aid, though, there are study abroad scholarship opportunities. So I've listed a few of them here. So my office does have some study abroad scholarships available. You can apply for these in SNAP. Just know that the deadline for summer scholarships is coming up fast, February 8th. So you want to make sure you get that application in so you don't miss our scholarship opportunities. And then depending on your major, some UIC departments also have scholarships. So for instance, I know LAS has a couple of study abroad scholarships, as well as the Honors College. But for this program, I think you all are going to be very competitive for these nationally competitive awards, such as Gilman, which I'll talk about in a minute. And this is because where do most students choose to study abroad? Western Europe. So the fact that this program is based in Asia and specifically Taiwan and includes some basic Mandarin study is going to make this program a really attractive option for scholarships. So definitely make sure that you are applying for all scholarships you're eligible for. And then also the program fee, you wouldn't be charged until the end of May. So you have some time to think about community-based funding or fundraising. And we do have a section on our website that gives you some creative ideas past students have had to raise money. So through your financial aid, applying for scholarships and community-based funding, you hopefully can develop a strong plan to help afford the program. I'm also happy to work with students who might benefit from a payment plan. So if paying it all in once at the end of May is too difficult, just send me an email and we can talk about what a payment plan might look like. All right, so I mentioned Gilman. UIC students are incredibly competitive for Gilman. And correct me if I'm wrong, Marcin, but I think you actually are a Gilman recipient, right?
That is correct. I received Dylan last year.
Well, I hope you don't mind if I pick on you just to share a little
No, go ahead.
experience applying for it, but just to quickly give an overview. So Gilman is for students who receive a Pell Grant. So if you receive a Pell Grant, please come work with me so I can help you on your application. Because as you see, you could receive up to $5,000 for Gilman. And you have some time. The deadline's March 10th. So Marcin, why don't you talk a little bit about your experience applying for Gilman?
Yeah, so it was a pretty easy and enjoyable experience. I just had to write like 3 essays and submit the essays on a portal and with the just different topics regarding the essays, but some of them is like why you're interested in the culture and why you're interested in the program. And then other topics are like how are you going to pay forth, with the experience that you learned, how are you going to pay back your community, and kind of, so they expect you to have some plan of, what's their return and the investment for I think it's a State Department program. I mean, what's the return investment of them, providing you that scholarship. Then after you get accepted, you just go on the portal. There's a number of training modules you have to complete, kind of similar to UIC study abroad modules, and then they just send you the money through Zelly, I believe.
Oh, awesome. I
Pretty
didn't know they send it through Zelle these days. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's not even like a paycheck or anything. They just straight up wired it to your account.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. So yeah, as Marcin explained, this is a scholarship through the Department of State. So again, if you do apply for Gilman, you should absolutely mention that this is the Taste of Fulbright program and that we're working with Fulbright because Fulbright is also through the US government. And as I mentioned, they told me when I was in Taiwan, they want more applicants from minority serving institutions. So basically, UIC students have a really great shot at getting a scholarship for this program. And I have read for Gilman before, so I know what they're looking for. So if you do decide to apply for the scholarship, I'd love to help you on your application. Another funding opportunity is we have an active campaign going on called our Bring a Fellow Flame. So if you're interested in this program and you think you have a friend or a classmate who'd be a good fit for it, and you can encourage them to apply, if you both get accepted and end up going, we will waive our app fee and our $200 SAO fee. So that's a savings of $250 you can benefit from as well. And so you can read more about that and complete the form if you find a friend at the website on the screen. And I will be sharing these slides to everyone who registered afterwards. All right, so if you decide you'd like to apply, your next steps are first to make sure you have a fully valid passport. And if you don't, please go ASAP and apply because processing times are still quite long. Even if you have a passport, pull it out, check that expiration date because you might be surprised. If you got it when you were younger, passports only last 5 years. If you got it when you're an adult, passports last 10 years. Then I always recommend speaking with your academic advisor so you can let them know that you're interested in this program and that you would be taking LAS 299. For most students, this will be a general elective credit, but just checking with your advisor to make sure is a good idea. Then if you decide you'd like to apply, you would come to our website and you would click this apply now button that you see there. And then you log in with your UIC credentials. And that's going to start you in something called our first step application. And this will just ask you to watch a brief video so you understand how study abroad works at UIC. After you complete that, I'll then move you on to the actual program application. And the program application is pretty short. You probably could knock it out in about 20 or 30 minutes. You're just going to be reading some forms and electronically signing those. And then I think for this program, I do ask for a one-page statement of interest. So kind of like you introduced yourselves today, just letting me know who you are and what about this program excites you and how it connects to your career and academic goals. It's not required to meet with me, although I'm happy to meet with any student who would like to. So if you would like to make an appointment with me, the best way to do so is just email me your availability and we can set something up. And then of course, start researching funding opportunities on our website. All right, so there is my email address and the link is just go.uic.edu/Fulbright Taiwan. But we've got plenty of time for Q&A, so I'm going to stop sharing and see what you all think. You can, if you have a question, you can feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
I have a question.
Yeah, Heaven, go for it.
So I know you mentioned some multiple scholarships that we can apply for this program, and I'm sorry, but did you say that we can like apply to multiple scholarships and that's fine?
Great question. Yes. So with study abroad, you can apply for multiple scholarships and you should do so for any you're eligible for. I have had some students receive multiple scholarships where they actually end up making money. So it's kind of like they get paid to go abroad, but you can always use that for food money and spending money on site, right?
Yeah. Okay, one more question.
Yep.
I know you mentioned about the Pell Grants. Does that just like the Gilman one or just like any other ones?
So Gilman is the one that requires you to have a Pell Grant, but most of the other scholarships do not. So if you don't get a Pell Grant, then there are other opportunities like the SAO fund, which is in SNAP. And then there's other ones listed on our website. The Fund for Education Abroad is another good one you can find on our website, and their deadline's coming up in early February as well. So just make sure you, maybe this weekend even, you get online and look at those.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
No problem. Marcin, any questions from you? And I can back up to a few of the early slides if that'd be helpful.
No, you have to go all of that. I'll probably just attend the 5th
Okay.
February session. What is that Paris thing in the behind you? That's kind of cool. Is that for the Olympics? It's not related,
Oh
but
yeah, that's just kind of this little sculpture I have since I studied.
oh,
But we are launching a program this summer. Yeah,
interested in it as well. I'll be looking out for that.
cool. I think the deadline for that program is February 8th. So can check
Okay,
that.
the same. Will do. Do you guys have any online session or Zoom sessions regarding it?
For that one, I think they've all happened. I believe a recorded session is on the webpage, so you can
Okay,
look at that. Yeah,
I'll check that out. All right, thanks.
no problem.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah, thank you both for being here. I'll be sending these materials out and hopefully I'll see an application come through from you, but have a good rest of your week.
Thank
too.
you. everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.